Coldplay are arguably the biggest band in the world in 2025. They are constantly dominating streams on Spotify, and they are touring and selling out stadiums across the world. But how did they go from their humble beginnings to become the biggest band in the world? It actually took some iconic singles, some bold reinventions, and some key moments over a 25-year journey. So in this short video, I thought we'd break down their rise to fame and highlight the 10 key moments that I think shaped their legacy. So let's go. Key moment number 1 was the release of their song Yellow, which was on their debut album Parachutes in 2000. The album was full of these mellow, more acoustically driven, emotional vibe type songs, but Yellow was that one song that completely dominated everything. It was so different than the new metal and the boy band stuff that was doing the rounds in early 2000s, and the song put Coldplay on the map. And I think the second key moment was their follow-up sophomore album, A Rush of Blood to the Head. This album won Grammys, it dominated the charts, and it made Coldplay a household name. And the songs on this album were even bigger and more cinematic. You had songs like Clocks, The Scientist, and In My Place. And people started comparing him to bands like U2 and Radiohead. This album was really well written and well produced, and it pushed him out into the global audience. They then released the album X and Y, and even though critics were split on this album, it was the best-selling album worldwide in 2005. And it was songs like Fix You and Speed of Sound that were on this album that made them stadium ready. And I think key number 3 is their festival and stadium dominance from here. This was the album that put them over the top and made them headliners at Glastonbury, Coachella, and everywhere else. Key moment number 4 was working with Brian Eno on their next album, which was called Viva La Vida, or Death and All His Friends. They wanted to shake things up a little bit on this album, and the result was a total reinvention. The sound on this album was orchestral, it was weird and beautiful at the same time. And what I think is key moment number 5 is the title track on this album, Viva La Vida, was their first US #1 hit. This album showed that suddenly they were the band that took risks, and it paid off for them. Key moment number 6 on their trajectory, I think, is in their next album, Milo Xyloto. This album was a reinvention again to a more pop sound, and it actually got them a little bit more mainstream domination. This is the key moment where they started going all in on this colourful pop vibe. They had songs like Paradise, Every Teardrop is a Waterfall, and that song they did with Rihanna called Princess of China. They started to embrace synths on this album, and they started to appeal to a bit more of a younger audience that was into pop. This was the era that it felt like they were almost everywhere. Then you come to key moment number 7 with the release of the album Ghost Stories. After Chris Martin's breakup with Gwyneth Paltrow, this album was like a reset. It was minimal, it was electronic, and it was deeply personal. And in fact, the album wasn't trying to be a stadium record at all. It was almost like Coldplay was processing heartbreak in real time. The key song on this album was the song Magic, but there was so many other great tracks on this album too. Key moment number 8 came with the release of their next album, Head Full of Dreams. It was with their record-breaking tour that happened around the same time. It was one of the highest grossing tours ever, and it pulled in over 500 million. And key moment number 9 came with the big name collaborations that they did at the time, especially with the song Hymn for the Weekend with Beyonce. The album Head Full of Dreams was back to bright, joyful, colourful, and the band was more confident than ever. The next album the band released was a little bit more of an artsy project called Everyday Life. The album dealt with themes of war, racism, and humanity, and didn't produce any radio hits. But it was brave, it was global, and it showed that Coldplay was still evolving even after all the success that they've had. Key moment number 10, I think, comes with their collaboration with BTS on the song My Universe. This song was absolutely massive. It debuted at #1 on the Billboard Hot 100, and it introduced Coldplay to BTS's fan base across the world. This song showed that even after 20 plus years, Coldplay could still innovate and collaborate and produce something special. And their sound changed again on Music of the Spheres with this more spacey synth sound. They continued with that theme and moved on to 2025 with their album Moon Music. The song Feels Like I'm Falling in Love leads the way off the Moon Music album, and Coldplay are touring across the world in 2025. So how are Coldplay the biggest band in the world, arguably, in 2025? I think it can be put down to staying true to who they are, but also evolving with the times. It's that rare combination of the two. When you look back over their catalogue, you look at songs like Clocks, you look at the iconic song Fix You, through to Viva La Vida, Every Teardrop is a Waterfall, and even songs like Sky Full of Stars. They're all massive, emotionally touching songs. And I think it's that sort of deep connection that fans have with the music that keep them coming back to support this band. And having that base of great songwriting has allowed themselves to reinvent themselves over time, and people will stick with them. And even their concerts are just this light-filled, colourful experience. They've tapped into that younger audience and while still retaining that older audience, and it's given them a massive market share in the music industry. But that's just my thoughts, guys. Let me know your comments. I'd really be interested in what your favorite Coldplay album is. What's your favorite Coldplay song? Do you even like Coldplay? Let me know if you hate Coldplay in the comments. Don't forget to hit subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next video.